Hey everybody, it's Margot.
Guys, I'm such a fucking actress.
And Lydia.
Strong black woman over here.
But you already know why we're here.
Pop off, sis.
I went commando on public transportation, huh?
Oh my god.
I love a good lazy river because I'm lazy and I like water.
Pop off, sis.
Guys, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of hungover right now.
The content you may not want but deserve.
Pop off.
I think I popped off about that.
You popped
Pop
off.
off.
Pop off, sis! Oh yeah, oh yeah. Wiggle in the chair, wiggle in the chair, turn in the chair, and turn out. Ow, shit. Noodle arms, noodle arms.
Now that we got that out. Hi.
Hi, yes, that is how we start. We say hello. Yay!
Exhale. Wow. What a day. We done did it.
What a day. What a week. I mean, wow. Lydia, what is this wonderful shirt that you have got going on yourself?
And I wear it proudly for all these women out here. We're letting you know, everybody. I'm speaking. Period.
Oh!
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
That is wonderful. It's so cute. It's so perfect for today. Wow. I mean, I was a little more guys, my image is it's backwards. I'm confused. Okay. I went a little more obvious with the Go Joe, which I'm not gonna lie, when I had to write it backwards, I did write the J the wrong way at first, and I had to go to my mother and say, can you read this, or is this wrong? But now it's correct. I also got a little
girl power. Working that. I love that shirt. Yes. You're repping both. Go Joe, girl power. We're speaking. We are here in this historic moment. Wow. Couldn't be happier. I mean, you guys know what we're going to talk about today, obviously. Like,
you know, I think you can tell. But before we get into everything that was and is this week, this present moment, this Saturday, we got to talk about a couple like fun things first that are non-related, but that are pop culture related, because you know we wouldn't be our podcast without talking about what has happened this week that is not related to the election. So, Lydia, start us off.
Well, I just wanted to acknowledge that on Wednesday, November 11th, that marks 1 year of this podcast. We have done it a year, so this episode is pretty much like our 1 year anniversary.
Wow.
Which is like very exciting, and I love that it fell on this occasion.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, we have to acknowledge, Margot, we started this a year ago, and really even before that with the planning and the idea. So we are so happy, you know, to see our accomplishments and to have worked hard to get to a year. So go us.
Wow.
Okay.
Go us. And we're only going to grow more in the coming year. I'm so excited for what we have to come, and thank all of you for listening and for supporting us in this creative endeavor.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And then we can't really talk about anything other than this damn election. But we just want to give all you Bachelor Nation people out there, the quickest of updates, and that is what's the news, Margot, that we all know now?
Claire and Dale are engaged.
He put a ring on it. They're engaged. Shocker.
It's a huge ring. It's like can she even hold her hand up? That looks heavy.
It does look heavy. And I was like, did she pick it out? Did like the show just like go for the biggest, nicest thing I could find? Like, it's nice. That ring is, whew.
It's blind.
We're really going to try and leave it there. But the point is, to me, Dale can have a little more enthusiasm. I'm not totally believing in like true love yet.
What, you mean they couldn't be in true love after like spending 2 hours together? What?
One night? Just see what you feel. Yeah, I have a little bit of doubts that they're marriage ready, but none of my business.
We'll see. I just wanted to shout out really quick. Tonight's episode, Saturday, November 7th, tonight's episode of SNL. Let us take a quick moment to think of those actors, those writers, the entire production team who is having to pump out a new script, new content, new skits in like 12 hours.
I'm taking a drink for them.
Oh, they're gonna need it. I hope they take a couple shots before, but I think it's gonna be fabulous. I think it's gonna be so funny. And even if it's under-rehearsed, that's just gonna make it more comical.
It's gonna be so good. And Dave Chappelle's hosting, which is like a no-brainer. You know it's gonna be good.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not really a fan, or I don't really know their music, so I don't want to say I'm not a fan, but the Foo Fighters are the musical guest. They're the classic. They've been around forever. So yeah, it's so exciting, and you're so right. They literally, with the debates and other political things that happen, they're used to having a couple days to figure out what the show is going to be, but this was literally like around noon we found out that Joe Biden is the president-elect, so they had to make a whole new script. It's going to be so exciting. This, I don't know why, but I don't know if you remember, in the 2016 election, the first SNL after the presidential results came out, they had Kate McKinnon sitting at a piano and she sang Hallelujah.
Yes.
And I don't know why, but to me, even though that was like supposed to be a somber moment, it was like disappointing and all that, like I think it would be very cool if she were to do that the same exact way tonight. Like just to like give it a whole nother meaning and just like I feel like it would be very powerful. I doubt they're gonna do that, but that was just my thought on that.
That hit me in the heart.
Right? Like, it would just give it a whole new perspective, and, like, 2020 has been awful. We know this. Like, 2020 is the worst year in history, like, for us. Like, this just needed to be, like,
Are we gonna cry tonight?
I don't cry, but get a couple more of these in me. I might be. 21, as you didn't know. Well, I'm actually 22.
You're 22.
I know. Literally almost 23. Margot and I's birthdays are in a month, so. But, I'm overage is my point.
Lydia, I'm going to have to hold you right there because I'm a bit starstruck because, oh my God, is that her? Is that? I heard that you had your 10 seconds of fame, and I'm going to need you to tell me about it.
I mean, like, if you want my autograph, like, I'll sign something.
Oh,
like,
please.
I mean, we all know Margot is the thespian, the actress, the one performer on this podcast. But, your girl Lydia loves some reality TV, and I had a moment. I had my 15 seconds of fame that was more like about 0.2 seconds on Real Housewives of Potomac. I will insert the clip here. I was on an episode in a scene where they were filming all of the wives, like just kind of talking and promoting one of their hat and clothing lines, and so I was there for it. I'm not gonna get into how I even got in that moment, but it was cool to be like behind the scenes, see all the cameras, have to like sign a release form. It was like, yeah. So I'll show you guys, but don't blink because you'll miss it.
I'll make sure my eyes stay open.
Yeah.
I'll be watching like that.
Yeah, I got a gray jacket on and my hair is long and straight, and yeah, I'm in the background. Like I said, you're gonna have to rewind it probably to make sure you see me. That was something that happened recently.
And it's exciting.
It's exciting, and I learned, so much more about filming with shows like that, because when we filmed this was literally like it was a year ago, and the fact that it just aired last weekend, like it really takes a while editing that whole shenanigans of television. But yeah, it was cool. Something I'll always remember. Oh, just like today, we will always remember.
Oh, that transition, Lydia! That transition! I'm gonna need to stand up for that one.
Thank you. Oh! So we decided we're just gonna just take in a little journey over this past week, because it was a roller coaster to get to this day.
It really was. All
so,
right.
Margo, let me ask you this first. When was your last night of a good sleep?
Oh, what a question. I actually, for like the past 2 months, have been having extreme paranoia at night and waking up every night at either 2, 3, or 4 a.m. and haven't been able to fall back asleep for like an hour or 2. So, what a loaded question that is. But you know what? I think I might be able to sleep through the night tonight. I just have a feeling. So what about you? How has your sleep been leading up to this week?
I know. Leading up to this week, I've been okay. I felt like I did my part. I voted. I know a lot of people that I know voted, and I just felt like kind of calm about it. I will say at one point I was very pessimistic, because I just felt like 2020 has just been so awful that it would just be another thing to add on to this year for this not to go in the Democrats' favor, but I would say I slept pretty well Monday night, because I was excited for election day. I was excited to watch the news. I love keeping up with stuff happening. So I would say when work was over and I turned on the TV around like 9-10 o'clock on Tuesday, November 3rd, and some results started coming in, and I was like, oh no. And this is when we all were like, whoa. Because if you only watched election night coverage, you weren't happy if you were a Democrat or a Joe Biden supporter.
Yeah, I mean, I have so many thoughts on election day. But just to take you through my election day, all of my classes were canceled, which it's really nice. They were like, my professors wanted anyone who hadn't had the opportunity to vote yet to go vote. I love that. The negative was all I had to do all day was just sit around, twiddle my thumbs, be anxious. I've never been that anxious in my life. I couldn't do anything. I was just in a constant state of stress and sorrow, depression. Who knows? It was not fun. My whole body was tense like this, and I mean, I probably just gave myself a year's worth of back pain and back problems. But after that whole and stress eating, I gained 5 pounds this week because that's how much I was eating.
I mean, it was just Halloween too, so you had any candy,
Oh, I had all the candy laying around. It was just a constant flow. Oh, look, a Kit Kat. Oh, a Reese's, a Laffy Taffy. How did that end up there? I don't know. And then election night came, and I'm sipping my wine, and it's just, you should not. I understand now we have 24-hour coverage, news coverage. But you should not be able to start predicting a state or what color they're gonna turn, which way they're gonna go, when they only have 5% of the votes. And I remember Texas, they were talking about Texas early on election night. They're like, wow, it's going to go blue. I'm like, well, you just counted Austin. Of course it looks like it's going to go blue. Like, that was so stressful. Like, every race started optimistic, like, because they would only count, it goes by county. So like maybe they just counted the big cities and then it would switch over. And I was like, this is not fair. They are playing with us too much.
The emotions.
The emotions were like, and I'm just like shaking, holding my wine glass, like watching CNN. We had like, I think we had like NBC on someone's computer and like CNN on the TV, and I was checking my phone for different news sources. It was a stress puddle.
There were so many memes of, they said like people set up at home and it was like your work computer and then CNN and then MSNBC. It was like control rooms of newsrooms with everyone's home. Like literally. I know.
And then it was a mess. And that night I woke up in the middle of the night, as I have been, and I checked my phone and it did not look good for Joe. And I was like, oh my God, this is actually happening. Like, the country is still so messed up that we are voting again for this Cheeto. And at that point, I just couldn't sleep again. All my classes were canceled Wednesday too, so I was like, I don't need to sleep. And anyways, Lydia, take me through your Tuesday and your thoughts on the coverage, because I would prefer they just announce when they have like at least 50% of the votes of a state.
No, it's so funny you say that, because we were over here like, how can you call this at 5%? I don't understand. Like, even if it is a huge county, like, I don't care if Dallas, Texas voted for Trump, how can the whole state be for Trump? Like, I don't get how that works. But yeah, total roller coaster of emotions. I just tried to stay focused at work, but I work in the Senate, so it's very obvious that that's all we were talking about. But no, I actually was pretty busy on Tuesday, so it kept me focused on that. But of course I had the news on and just was like, I feel like I haven't ever used my math skills so much, because like, I was okay, if you do this 270 minus this much, okay, how much more does he need, but how many electoral votes are in this state, like
my calculator app has never been more used.
Literally, yes, exactly. But yeah, and so I would say Tuesday night I went to bed maybe like 3. Yeah, it was late because, like I said, that was not a good night. And I mean, like you were saying, people voting for him again. It's like this time around, it hurts so much more. It's because like you've seen how he was. You saw how he was president. And the fact that people are almost half the country, or half of eligible voters or people that voted this time around, almost half of them still want Trump, So that's what's more scary and disheartening, is like, all these people around us are still clearly for him and for his whatever. But so Tuesday night was a late night, and then you get up. I got up for work. You didn't have class, which is great, but I was tired. I needed some caffeine. So Wednesday, just more results coming in. I want to say, if I remember correctly, Wednesday still, we weren't getting Biden votes that much, like, more in his favor. Like, the mood hadn't flipped yet, really, to Biden. It was still kind of like, uh-oh, this is tight. Mm-hmm. So you weren't in class, I worked, and then did we have any big results Wednesday night?
I think Wednesday was when it was clear that he needed Nevada and Arizona to be able to hit like just 270. Like, there was no Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia were all red. Like, there was no, and by a big margin, like, there was no question of whether he was going to get those states or not, because it was just like, oh, that's Trump. Because I don't think they'd even started counting mail-in ballots yet.
That's right. And remember, that's what a lot of the polls and news people were predicting, is that Trump would get a lot of those election day voters, because those are the people that weren't scared to go in person because they're not worried about coronavirus.
Right.
And all the mail-in ballots would be heavily supporting Biden. So, but they counted the in-person election day votes first.
Yeah.
I think it went election day votes and then early voting votes and then mail-in. So yeah, that's why still I'm over here. I know we're not to Friday yet, or we're not to Saturday yet, but just the big gap that the fact that Biden won Pennsylvania does not make sense to me. Like, I can't believe that.
Oh, me either. I'm like, wait, how did it go from Trump being in such a lead to Biden win? Like, oh my God, I was constantly Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, checking. Like, I would just refresh. I would type in election in Google and it would just come up the map of the US and like who was leading in what state and the percentages and the number of votes. And as I refreshed, it was like an 8,000 vote difference, or, like a 20 or 30,000 vote difference, which is very, very small. And it's just crazy. It was so nerve-wracking to watch. And I have to say, Wednesday and Thursday, I had a lot of anger because I was like, and listen, I did my best to remind myself not to listen to the polls because 4 years ago they did us dirty, and I was trying to remind myself. But I kept hearing every single expert on the radio. I listen, like, my family is big NPR people. So we're listening to like the NPR people saying, never has a president with like under 47% approval rating been, elected to a second term, and Biden is going to lead heavily. And the results were not showing that. And they were also showing that the Trump supporters that everyone claimed had only voted for him for other reasons because they didn't like Hillary, blah, 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 had changed their minds, and that a lot of them were going to vote for Biden. That is not the case. People did not change their mind. The reason Biden won is from new voters, young voters, especially minority voters, like white people, white men. That was a lot of Trump. White women was not much better if you look at the percentages. And it's really the young voters and specifically minority voters who made this election like end the way that it did.
Exactly. I mean, hello, Philadelphia, hands down, basically decided what we found out today. And there is, a very big African-American population there, the minority populations also. And, even Florida, Florida went to Trump, but Miami-Dade County, heavily Latino, went to Biden. So, yeah. And I will say that is a testament to all of these mobilizers and people that use their platform to really get that message across, that minorities were going to be so important this time around, and that new voters really needed to just go out there and voice their opinion. Like, if anything, we learned that this election proves that literally every vote matters. Like, people, you hear that all the time. We've heard that for months and months and months, and no one maybe really believes that. But, like, it's so true after today. It's so true.
Yeah. I mean, like, there were some states I was even shocked at, maybe Biden won, but it wasn't that I thought it would. Like, if you look at New York, I think Biden got like 56% of the vote or something. But to me, when I think New York, I'm like, oh, that's 70% blue. But it's not. And a lot more people voted in general this time. A lot more people voted for Trump. And it was because this effort to get out the vote encouraged, of course, Biden supporters, but it also equally encouraged Trump supporters who maybe hadn't voted last time and were looking at how many people were going to vote blue and said, oh, no. Yeah. We like the Cheeto. We're going to keep him in there.
Right. Yeah, you're so right. And that's the other thing, like, how the major breakthrough this time is that Biden has received the most votes of anyone in American history, which is like, whoa. But that being said, Trump, I believe, is second. So more people voted for both this time,
Yeah.
So, and like we said before, it's like, we are celebrating this victory. It is a victory. It is a very powerful moment, but it's like our country still has major issues and we are still very much divided. But we can get over that divide much easier with a competent president and vice president that understand and care for what their people need.
Yeah.
And we know, you know, the first year or more is going to be a lot of undoing the Cheetos mistakes and
Yes.
you know, just like trying to get back to a baseline, like Obama era, something to work with, okay? But it's just going to be so much more potential for positive change, and there will be positive change. And okay, I have so much to say. You have so much to say.
Okay. Let's jump forward. Should we jump forward to today?
Okay, so yeah, so you know, yeah, we got through most of the week. It was a lot. It was the roller coaster, and then we get to today, Saturday, November 7th.
Okay, Lydia, you're gonna have to lead this one because I only found out after. So, what was your morning like? How did you find out? And what happened after?
So I honestly planned to sleep in today because I was up late last night and I was like, it's the weekend, I can sleep in. And for some reason I woke up around like 9:30, which for me, when it's not a work day, that's early. But so yeah, so I got up, you know, the news was on. It's always on in this house. So I was hearing rumblings, but it was still, you know, that same number that has been on the screen for a while, which I think was like Biden's 253 to Trump's 214 electoral votes. And we were getting rumblings that there would be a decision soon, I think, for Pennsylvania, but we didn't know how soon. So I was just upstairs, just chilling, and my dad was watching TV downstairs, and I heard him. My mom wasn't here, and so he called her on the phone, and he didn't say anything to me, but I heard him on the phone say, Biden is the assumed president-elect, or something like that. Like Biden, oh no, he said Biden is projected to be the next president. And I didn't even think I heard him right. So I ran down the stairs and I went in there and my mom was screaming and he said, yeah, he got Pennsylvania. They just announced. And I looked on the screen and it said it was like Joe Biden predicted 46th president of the United States. And we were like, holy shit. My phone started buzzing, blown up. So then, you know, Mario and I would be texting because, you know, we got to plan the show. We got to catch up with each other. And I was just texting everybody that I knew would be excited. And so I just texted Margo. I was like, he did it. Biden won. And I guess a couple minutes went by, right? Before you saw or you opened my text. And then she was like, you told me, Lydia, you were the one that told me. I was like, what, really? It was me? So I broke the news. Pop off this exclusive. History.
Yeah. I mean, so you had texted me that you were watching the last episode of, like, the latest episode of The Bachelorette. So all that came up on my phone that I saw was like, holy shit. And I thought you were talking about The Bachelorette. So I didn't even open it because I think I was like cooking breakfast or something. And so I wasn't even like, I hadn't opened it yet. I wasn't curving your text, okay? You know, but I was like doing something. I forget what it was. So anyways, I didn't open it. Also, I turned off my notifications from news outlets like a couple weeks ago because I just knew it was going to be like this inner turmoil, constant reminder, and it's already always on my mind. So it's not like I got a notification or anything. So anyways, like, you know, I'm just like la-di-da on my computer. I open my phone and I read, he did it. You know, Joe Biden is going to be the president. I literally threw my phone, jumped up from my bed, and started screaming for my mother. I'm like, Mom, and she's downstairs, and I sprint down the stairs. I stubbed my toe. It hurt like a bitch, but it didn't even matter, and I run into the kitchen. I'm like, we got Pennsylvania! I was so over the moon. I danced for 20 minutes straight I was just dancing, like playing music, sweating, like so much sweat. But Lydia, you broke that to me. No one else texted me. No one else, like in that moment. And that was how I heard the news. And I'm just so thankful that you were the one to break the news to me. I mean,
That's so, no, I'm so happy. Like, we'll always remember, like, I texted you and that's how you found out. Like, that's so cool. That's history right there. But oh no, I can just imagine you dancing, screaming for your mom, like just the elation, the pure joy that was that moment. And we'll always remember that, you know?
yeah.
Oh, there's just so much. It's just so many things. But yeah, no, today. So I don't know if you feel like that moment of finding out was like, it was hours ago, but if you feel like the day has just kind of been a blur of excitement or, you know.
Yeah. Well, what did you do? So you found out, you got your phone was blowing up, awards moment, and then what happened? How has the rest of your day been?
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I was plugged to the TV for like 3 hours after that,
Of course.
watching the crowds mount at the White House and in New York and in Philly and just everywhere. People are freaking out. I love it. And then I was like, yeah, I was watching the commentators talk about it. I will say Van Jones had a very emotional moment where he gave his reaction, and that's where my quote of the day is from. But I was watching stuff like that, you know, just people saying what it meant to them. That I was on Twitter a lot. I tweeted, shout out Steve Kornacki one time, because shout out to him. He is the beloved newscaster that does the board with all the states on it and keeps track of every single new county that comes in, and he like runs on adrenaline. He barely slept. They like forced him out of the studio so he could sleep and like get some coffee and recharge, but he's just so passionate about what he does and he's so good at it. And so shout out to him, because I know all these anchors have been so tired and all these reporters just forever, but especially these last few months and weeks. But yeah, so I tweeted him because he was just great. And yeah, just texting a lot of, you know, friends and family. Everyone's just like, wow, kind of like what you said earlier, Margot. I don't know if you said it in the episode yet, but you know, exhale, breathe, like we can breathe again. And Van Jones had something where he talked about, you know, George Floyd and some of these other African American men that have lost their lives couldn't breathe, but in a different way, a lot of Americans couldn't breathe these past 4 years. And I thought that was really interesting, you know, just because of how awful things have been and just the type of environment that the Cheeto created, you know. So it's just a monumental moment. So yeah, I don't think it's really set in yet for me, but talking to you about it has kind of like made it real. And just, yeah. How did you spend the rest of the day?
Well, my mom and I were like, all right, we're getting the car and we're going downtown. Like, we're too close. And it was also like noon, and we're like, if we don't go now, we're not gonna go because the crowds are gonna get insane. And like, Miss Rona is still here. Let's not forget about her. But I have not had so much serotonin in months. I mean, it was just like everyone was like, you were just driving down the street, everybody's honking, just honk, honk, honk. I was like, it must be confusing to drive right now. I was happy I wasn't in the driver's seat, but I mean, I'm just screaming. Like, I'm surprised my voice is not going to be here tomorrow. Like, it's going to be gone. I'm screaming, woo, woo, chanting to everyone I see. The energy was just so, like, it was so happy. And, you know, that has not been the energy lately. You see your friend, you see your family, you are social distance or whatever. You ask them how they're doing. Everyone says, yeah, I'm fine. I'm good considering the circumstances. This was the first time I felt in months that anyone could say, I'm doing great right now. You know, in this moment, I am feeling it. And it was just everywhere. And we went to the White House and just crowds of people gathered with signs and chants. Thank you, Stacey Abrams. We were chanting that. All of these different things, and it was so positive. There was just such a sense of community. I've never been happier to be a DC resident. Like, this city is very, very special, and obviously it's not the only place that was celebrating in this way. You go on New York Times Instagram page, they have a bunch of clips of people dancing all over the country, but it was truly, truly amazing. And people were like handing out flags, and once I got hold of a flag, you could not stop me. I was shaking it all over the place. I was doing a little shimmy, shaking my butt. I was just dancing down the road. I looked ridiculous, and I loved it. And it was just, and everyone was wearing a mask, every single person. And when you were near the White House, people couldn't really social distance because it's like a small area. But everywhere else in the city, if you were walking on the street, and there was a lot of people downtown, they would give you your space. And it was so respectful. And it was really amazing and so happy. And it was so good. It was so good.
I'm so glad you got to go to that. You had to be a part of that moment. If I was in DC, I totally would have, because you'll never forget that. And what a contrast. I was in DC on election night 2016, and because it was our freshman year of college, and a bunch of people were like, let's just go. Like, Clinton's gonna win. Let's go be a part of this moment. And we literally left by like before midnight when the numbers were coming in, and we realized what was happening. So it's just like, hearing you speak about today, it's like such a contrast, and we're like getting back to humanity a little bit, and that's amazing. And like you said, it was just respect, and people were just dancing like joy. We needed that. We like 2020 just
2020 has been a time. And 2016 election, I had an exam the next day. I had honestly forgotten what the Electoral College was, because I had just voted, I think, or I was going to vote soon in France's election, and that's by popular vote, as it should be. And so I start seeing all these numbers, and I was like, wait, what is this? And then I look it up, and then, just through the night studying, seeing Hillary start to lose. And I ended the night in our dorm in LP watching the concession speech, and then watching Trump's Trump's victory speech. And I saw it because I knew it was bad, and everything he represented, and I just couldn't believe so many people had voted for him. And so, as much joy as I do have today, and I kind of already talked about this, but just it's not lost on me that so many people did vote for Trump, and that we as a country have so much to do. And I'm not excusing Trump supporters, and I'm not like, they are sexist, they are homophobic, they are racist, they are, they voted for someone who represents like everything wrong in the world. But it's also like, they are a part of this country, and how do we get to a place where they can come to a better understanding, and they can stop living in such fear that they have to vote for someone who represents so much evil? Like, how do we start to bridge that gap? Mm-hmm. And have them come to realizations that, like, white people are not the only people who deserve a life in this country.
Yeah, and I think you phrased that perfectly, because they do still live here. And I think leading up to Election Day and throughout his campaign, Biden was big about saying that he is the Democratic nominee, but he's going to be the president for all Americans. And, talking points are talking points, and you'll say what you need to say to hopefully get elected. But I truly believe him when he says that, and that he's going to at least work towards that. And it's a no-brainer, but clearly it's not for almost half the country. So I think you're right. We need to figure out what can we do? How can we bring everyone together? I know it's important to listen is, I think, the biggest thing. And so that's what I try and do, is just have an open mind. Maybe not even necessarily actually always have an open mind, knowing that I don't agree, but I'm going to listen and figure out how can we work toward a solution in a civil way. And I think that maybe that is something that's coming back, is like a way to disagree respectfully. Because, like we hear, like Republicans and Democrats got along, pre-Trump and that's how things got done.
RBG and Scalia.
Period.
And like, listen, I'm not saying that if someone literally is against the person you are, like your sexual orientation or your the color of your skin or your set or gender, if someone is adamantly against who you are as a person, I'm not saying be friends with them or listen to what they have to say.
Right.
But I guess there's a hope in me that some of the people who voted for Trump aren't as extreme in those thoughts and maybe voted for him because they didn't like Biden's healthcare plan or it was about the economy, which I don't like. You have to fully encompass, an individual and their beliefs and a candidate, but I'm just hopeful that we can go back to politics. I've been talking about this with people so much, like, I cannot wait to debate what Joe does, to see the actions he takes and say, you know what? I don't agree with that. And he should have done this. And like to actually be able to criticize his policy. Because with Trump, all we could do was criticize his character because his character informed all of his policy decisions, which didn't.
For few, by the way, policy-wise, there weren't many.
Right. And they were ludicrous.
Yeah.
So the wall that blew over from the wind that was never finished, like.
On a petty note, I want them to like film Joe like knocking down a piece of the wall.
Oh my gosh.
One.
Like when the Berlin Wall fell, the entire, like all of the youth came together and were like chopping it down with like sledgehammers and like came with picks and everyone took a piece of the wall home with them. So I hope they let people do that. Just like bring a sledgehammer and
like have it be like all DACA recipients taking a piece of the wall. That would be cool. Such a good point about actually looking forward to having real policies to debate about, because these past 4 years have just been talking about the latest tweet that the president of the United States has tweeted, the Cheeto in chief. By the way, if you go on Twitter today, type in loser, and his account is the first one that pops up. Just the word loser. I mean, no hashtag, no nothing. But something also that was powerful that was coming out during early voting, or even I guess mail-in, just the beginning of anyone voting, was they just wanted to make the point, like, Trump never released a healthcare plan, period. Like, not before pandemic, and then now in a pandemic, and never actually had a healthcare plan. Like, come on. We're going to have so much to actually think about and dissect and actually realize how this country is going to change for the better and moving forward. Oh, there's just so much to look forward to. I can't wait to see who Biden puts in different positions, like, he's going to be so generous with these Democrats, these talented, bright Democrats that are coming up, and, who knows? I'm ready to see the squad doing something wild.
Wait, I have a question though. Is he allowed to like bring Obama into his cabinet?
Honestly, I think somehow, yes. Honestly, yeah. I don't see why not. I haven't heard any rules.
Yeah, just like in Trump's cabinet, I'm pretty sure his family members were in it. So, but I mean, I don't know if Obama is going to be like, I don't know if he would say yes, because he's probably like, listen, this country has given me enough stress as it is, but
maybe Michelle. I mean, I know she's the one that was like never into politics, but like maybe like what if she does something with Kamala or with Biden? Like,
Ooh, I'm fangirling over here at the idea that, can you imagine his cabinet or whatever is made up of the squad and Obama, both Obamas, and
I know you brought her up earlier, but I hope Stacey Abrams gets something up in
Yes.
there. She deserves it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's just so many possibilities, and it's so exciting, and it's just hope. On a
hope is here.
Hope is here. Hope has been restored. We have so much more to do, but this is who you want to be doing that. Like, this is the team that we need. I'm just elated. You know, it's like there's no words. It's just we breathe again. And I thought it was so sentimental. They were talking about earlier how, you know, Joe Biden will be, well, almost dropped the whole computer.
Oh no.
That, you know, Biden is obviously going to be the 46th president, and he has had so much tragedy in his life. And, you know, he's had 2 children pass away, but his son Beau that passed away recently was 46 when he passed away. And it's just like the symbolism of that number is kind of like, wow, you know, he's here. He's here for Joe in this moment. And he, you know, he's looking down like, I'm proud of you, Dad. So.
Top, that's actually
Michael's gonna cry. You know I don't cry, but I'm the throat. I know. Isn't that
yeah.
crazy?
Kamala is the only woman to ever have achieved such a high position in the United States. She is holding the largest amount of power that a female has ever been able to in this country. I saw a TikTok of someone just scrolling through, like, it was the Wikipedia page of American vice presidents. And, you know, you start from the beginning and it's like black and white photos, or like even just like drawings of these vice presidents. And, you know, you keep scrolling, it's all men, it's all men, it's all men, it's all white men. And then you get to her image, and she's just like so beautiful, but a South Asian woman to be the first woman to achieve this position, it's crazy. It's crazy.
It's so historic that it's like hard to even really fathom. Like, there's so many firsts.
Yeah.
And I saw something similar to that. It was like a graphic of like each century, and it was like all white heads, white old men, gray hair, like white heads, and then it was like 2000s, and it was like her at the end, and it was just like woman, it was like black, like it's just yeah. On a petty note, just remember how adamant and passionate Trump was about, you know, helping defund the USPS and just help people lose faith in our postal system when he had no evidence to do that. He just did that to help rig the election. And after all that, it not working, on a petty note, I'm just like,
And we can be petty because he was petty his entire presidency. So you know what? One day of pettiness is not equivalent to 4 years worth.
Oh, right. Boom. You're right. Yeah, I guess those are just our word vomit thoughts at this moment in time. What's also awesome is that in 50 years, Mario, we can look back on this episode and watch our raw reaction to this historic moment. We can show our grandkids.
Oh my God.
And just, we, as scary and as uncertain so many things are in this time, I am very grateful and alive to be here for everything that's happening right now, and we just have so much to look forward to.
Yeah.
We don't have moving forward, because moving forward is this moment into the future, because
Literally, that segment today, that along with Savage Seconds, it's like we are going to take a moment to be grateful, to rest, to celebrate, and tomorrow the work begins again, and there's a lot of work. There's a lot of fucking work to be done, but for now we can just take a moment.
emphasis on the rest. We need some sleep. This country needs sleep. Yeah, for sure. So let's give you our quotes and go sleep.
Literally.
I mentioned that Van Jones was speaking about his reaction today, and he got very emotional, and it was very heartfelt. I encourage everyone to go to his Instagram to watch that clip. But part of what he said just really was just well said. And he said, "Today is a good day. Character matters. Telling the truth matters. Being a good person matters."
My quote is from Emily Dickinson,
Mm.
and it is, "Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all."
Boom! Stops. Yes. Ah, what a day, Margot.
What a day. Wow. We love you all. Take care of yourselves. Be good to one another. And know that for at least a day, we were able to just breathe.